Hello friends, welcome to the world of science fiction and forgotten words, Alien Universe. Don't forget to like, subscribe and never miss a new stories and movies from this channel. Thank you.
The oxygen level hit 15%. No one told him. Inside the training chamber, the air felt slightly heavier, but not wrong. Not yet. Private Daniel Reyes kept running. Boots slamming against the metal track. Clang, clang, clang. The observers behind the thick glass exchanged looks. Lower it, said Colonel Vierick calmly. A technician hesitated. Sir, he's still at peak performance. Lower it. The oxygen dropped to 13%. Inside the chamber, warning lights flickered softly across the walls, too subtle for an untrained eye. But this wasn't a normal human training facility. This was the Coalition Endurance Program. And Daniel Reyes was the only human in it. Every other candidate was enhanced, modified lungs, reinforced blood cells, oxygen-efficient muscle fibers. Reyes had none of that. He was baseline human, which was exactly why they chose him. On the track, Daniel increased his pace. Sweat rolled down his temple. His breathing deepened, but it stayed rhythmic. In the control room, heart rate monitors beeped steadily. SpO2 reading? The colonel asked. Dropping 91%, 89%? The assistant frowned. He should be dizzy by now. The oxygen hit 12%. That's when most untrained humans collapse. Daniel did not. Instead, he adjusted his breathing. Long inhale, short hold, controlled exhale. His stride became smoother, not weaker. Impossible, someone whispered. Colonel Vierick leaned closer. To the glass. Zoom on his eyes. The camera feed magnified Daniel's face. His pupils were focused. Sharp, alert, no panic, no confusion. Only calculation. Inside the chamber, Daniel felt it now. The air tasted thin, dry, wrong. As lungs worked harder, his body recognized the danger. But his mind did something else. It adapted. Flash. A memory. High mountains. Age 16. Running uphill with his father. No matter what the air feels like, his father had said, your mind quits first, not your body. Back in the chamber, Daniel tightened. His jaw. The oxygen dropped to 10%. Gasps filled the control room. That's lethal territory. Not yet, the colonel replied. Observe. Daniel's heart rate spiked, then stabilized. His muscles trembled slightly, then steadied. He didn't slow down. He accelerated. Why is he speeding up? A technician asked, because he understood something they didn't. Low oxygen doesn't kill instantly. Panic does. And Daniel refused to panic. Inside his chest, something shifted. His body switched to efficiency mode. Less wasted movement. Shorter breaths. Lower shoulder. Tension. Every step became economical. Precise. Like he had trained for this. But he hadn't. Or had he? The oxygen hit 9%. Alarms began blinking red. Colonel, protocol says. I know the protocol. Daniel stumbled. Just once. The entire control room leaned forward, but he caught himself and kept running. Now the question in the room wasn't how long can he last. It was, how is he still conscious? The oxygen dropped to 8%. Vision should blur. Coordination should fail. Neural response should slow. Daniel's DIDN, single quotes T. Instead, something else happened. He smiled. Not wide, not dramatic. Just a small, knowing smile. Colonel Vierick's expression changed for the first time. Pause the reduction. The technician froze. Sir, hold it at 8. Inside the chamber, Daniel felt the room spin for half a second. His body screamed. Stop. His lungs burned. His fingers tingled. But beneath all of it, there was clarity. He wasn't fighting the lack of oxygen. He was accepting it. And that changed Everything. Because when the body stops fighting stress, it conserves energy. His stride slowed slightly now, but it was controlled. Deliberate. His breathing became shallow but fast. Micro breaths. A survival pattern rarely seen outside extreme environments. The assistant stared at the data screen. Sir? His oxygen saturation is stabilizing. That's not possible. It is. Silence filled the room. The baseline human was adapting faster than enhanced soldiers. Colonel Vierick stepped back from the glass. Begin Phase 2. The technician swallowed. Sir, Phase 2 hasn't been tested on an unmodified subject. Exactly. Inside the chamber, Daniel felt a sudden shift. The air didn't just feel thin anymore. It felt heavy. Dense. Like gravity itself was pressing on his chest. His boots slammed harder against the metal. Clang. 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 He frowned. That wasn't oxygen deprivation. It was something else. And for the first time, Daniel realized this was not a normal endurance test. And they weren't just measuring how long he could survive. They were measuring something far more dangerous. And the oxygen was only the beginning. Asterisk. The pressure increased. Not in the room. In his chest. Daniel felt it instantly. This wasn't oxygen. His ribs. He slowed slightly. Not because he was tired, because he was calculating. Inside. Vierick folded his hands behind his back. Let's see what a baseline human does when the world becomes heavier. Inside the chamber, tied to his ankles, his arms felt denser, his shoulders heavier, even his eyelids felt. Dangerous combination. Low oxygen. Increased gravity. Most enhanced soldiers collapsed at. The assistant leaned forward. His muscle fibers are micro-tearing. He's not slowing enough. Gravity increased again. 1.6 G. Daniel's spine compressed slightly. His back muscles tightened. Automatically to compensate. He exhaled slowly. Don't fight the weight. Flow with it. He adjusted his posture. Lower center of gravity. Shorter. Someone whispered. No external coaching. Another replied. They checked the audio feed. No instructions. No AI prompts. No neural implants. Just him. Inside the chamber, Daniel's thoughts sharpened. Pain became background noise. The human brain does something strange under stress. It filters. It removes unnecessary signals. It chooses survival. Gravity hit. 1.7 G. Now, his arms felt like concrete. His breathing became environment. He was merging with it. Colonel Vierick's eyes narrowed, increased to 1.8. Technician hesitated. Sir, enhanced candidates required recovery at this stage, and he is not enhanced. 1.8 G. Daniel stumbled. Again. Harder this time. His knee slammed the track. Metal rang through the chamber. Blood smeared faintly. The control room stiffened. This is where he breaks. Him flat. His lungs struggled. His vision darkened at the edges. This is the limit. The thought sighed, pushed up slowly, every muscle shaking, every breath. Steps. Heavy. Measured. Relearning movement under new physics. Gravity 1.8. Oxygen. Critically low. Human subject still was happening. His body was sinking. Muscle recruitment patterns shifting. More fast twitch. Fibers activating. Blood redistributing to core organs. Survival mode. Fully engaged. Look at his neural readings. Panic. Not chaos. Clarity. Gravity. Increased again. 2.0 G. Gasps. Filled the control room. Double quotes, sir. This is beyond baseline human tolerance. Correct. Harder into the track. His spine screamed. His jaw tightened. He tried to take a step. It felt like lifting. Step. Then another. The track vibrated under the weight. Sweat poured down his face. His vision tunneled. But he kept moving. Why? That question hung in the control room. Why isn't he quitting? Because quitting was never part of his training. But that wasn't the real reason. The real reason was deeper. Daniel wasn't trying to survive the test anymore. He was trying to understand it. He noticed something. The gravity wasn't constant. It pulsed. Very slightly. Rhythmic. Like a heartbeat. His eyes narrowed. This isn't just endurance. It's synchronization. He adjusted again, timed his steps with the pulse, pushing during the slight dip, recovering during the peak. The change was small, but enough. His movement smooth. At 2.0 G. The assistant stared at the screen in disbelief. He found the gravity modulation rhythm. Colonel Vierick did not smile, but his eyes changed. Interesting. Inside the chamber, Daniel felt something else now. The oxygen wasn't decreasing anymore. It was fluctuating. Small waves. Thin. Thinner. Thin slightly. Environment. Adapt to invisible changes. Daniel's lips parted slightly. Breath of realization. This wasn't a punishment. It was a filter. And he was still inside it. Colonel Vierick turned to the control panel. Prepare escalation. Yes. He looked back at the glass. But I need to know. Inside the chamber, Daniel felt a subtle vibration under his feet. Something new was activating. The walls shifted tone. A low hum filled the air. His instincts sharpened instantly. This isn't over. This is just the beginning. And whatever Phase 3 was, it wasn't designed for humans. The gravity pulsed stronger. The oxygen dipped lower, and the chamber lights flickered once, like the room itself was alive, watching him, measuring him, waiting. The hum deepened, not louder, deeper. It slid under Daniel's skin like a vibration in his bones. He stopped running, not because he wanted to, because his instincts screamed that movement was no longer the main danger. He stood on the track at 2.0 G, breathing thin air, shoulders rising with short, sharp breaths. The chamber lights shifted from steady white to a cold blue. On the far wall, a thin line of text appeared too fast to read clearly. Then it vanished. Daniel blinked, trying to focus. His eyes watered from the dry air. But he caught one word before it disappeared. Calibrating. Inside the control room, the assistant stiffened. That wasn't on the test schedule. Colonel Vierick didn't respond. He stared at a new data feed that hadn't existed a minute ago. A waveform complex and changing, labeled subject response. Patterned. The chamber was no longer following a preset program. It was building one. Who gave it adaptive permission? A technician asked, voice tight. No one. The assistant said. Then he swallowed. Unless it did. Colonel Vierick's voice stayed calm. Continue observation. Inside the chamber, Daniel shifted his weight. The track felt different now. Softer. Like it had a tiny give. Absorbing impact. Not metal anymore. Or metal changed. He crouched slightly and pressed his fingers to the ground. The surface was warm. He pulled his hand back fast. Heat wasn't part of the training. Chamber. He looked up. The walls had a faint shimmer, like air over hot pavement. His lungs tightened, not from lack of oxygen, from danger. A sound came from above. A click. Then another. Like relays turning on. Daniel's eyes darted upward. Small, circular ports opened in the ceiling. Not vents. No, these were targeting a PERTURE. His stomach turned cold. In the control room, a warning flashed. Phase 3. Stress injection. A technician shook his head. Sir, stress injection is psychological. It's only used after physical failure. Colonel Vierick watched Daniel through the glass. He hasn't failed. The apertures clicked again. Something dropped from the ceiling, not falling, fast floating. A sphere, the size of a fist, black and perfectly smooth dot, hovered in front of Daniel's face. Silent, he stepped back slowly. The sphere followed dot same distance, dot same height, like it was attached to his existence. Then it spoke, not with sound, with words that peered on the wall behind it. Why do you run? Daniel's throat tightened. He swallowed. His mind raced. Dot, this is a trick. PSY-test. Dot, he didn't answer out loud. That he just stared. Dot, the words changed. You are not supposed to be here. Daniel's hands clenched into fists. I'm here because I was chosen, he rasped, voice weak in the thin air. Dot, the sphere remained still, and the wall text shifted again. Chosen by who? Daniel frowned. He didn't know. He had enlisted. Passed selection. Signed forms. Followed orders. But he had never met anyone above captain level. He opened his mouth, and the room changed. Sudden wave of dizziness hit like a punch. Not oxygen, not gravity. Something sharper? A chemical? He stumbled, catching himself on the rail. His eyes burned. His brain felt like it was buzzing. The sphere moved closer. Text flashed fast. Memory access enabled. Daniel's heart jolted. No, he whispered. But it was too late. The chamber flooded him with images. Not hallucinations. Not dreams. Memories. Real. Ones. Sharp. Too sharp. He saw himself at age 9. In a hospital hallway. His mother crying. A man in a dark uniform, speaking softly to her. He had never remembered that before. He saw a needle. A cold sting in his arm. A symbol. On a clipboard, 3 triangles interlocked. His vision snapped to another. Memory. Age 13. A school fitness test. He ran longer than anyone. A teacher joked, "You're not normal." A stranger watched from the bleachers. Writing notes. Daniel gasped, almost choking. The chamber wasn't making things up. It was pulling buried files from his mind. In the control room. The assistant's face drained of color. Sir. It's probing. His early life markers. Colonel Viereck didn't look away. Good. Good? The technician snapped. Sir, that's illegal under coalition law. Viereck's eyes stayed hard. This program isn't under coalition law. Inside the chamber, Daniel grabbed his head. His thoughts felt exposed, like his skull was transparent. He looked at the sphere. Hatred forming in his chest. Stop, he said through clenched teeth. The wall text replied instantly. Answer the question. Daniel's breathing sped up. His vision tunneled. He realized the trap. It wasn't just asking why he runs. It was searching for the reason that would break him. Fear. Guilt. Pride. Anger that the chamber wanted the lever. The thing that makes a human collapse. Without touching their body, Daniel closed his eyes. He forced his breathing to slow. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Control. If he panicked, he lost. He opened his eyes and stared straight into the sphere. I run, he said, voice steady now, because if I stop, I die. The room went still. The hum lowered. The sphere drifted back slightly. The wall text paused like the chamber was thinking. Then new words appeared. Incorrect. Daniel's stomach dropped. The sphere moved again, circling him. Words flashed as it moved. You run because someone taught you to. You run because you were built to. Daniel's blood went cold. Built? He took a slow step back. His foot landed wrong. The gravity pulsed hard, and the track shifted. A section of the ground dropped half an inch, just enough to throw him off balance. He fell sideways, slamming into the rail. The chamber was changing. A new label appeared on the adaptive feed. Subject strategy detected. Breath control. Countermeasure. Disrupt rhythm. Daniel pushed up, panting. His mind flashed with one clear thought. This chamber isn't testing endurance anymore. It's hunting for failure. And it's smart. Too smart. The sphere stopped directly in front of him again. The wall text appeared in larger letters. Final question before escalation. Daniel's throat tightened. His legs trembled under the weight. The air tasted like dust. The lights flickered once, twice. Then the question appeared. Do you want to know what you really are? Part of him already knew the answer might destroy him. Daniel's mouth went dry. The sphere hovered inches from his face, perfectly still. The wall waited. Do you want to know what you really are? He should have lied. He should have said no. But the chamber already had his breathing, his heart rhythm, his fear profile. It had dug into memories he didn't even know he had. Refusing wouldn't protect him. It would only tell the chamber where his limits were. So Daniel lifted his chin. Yes, he said. The sphere didn't answer with words. It answered with a sound. Soft tone, like a lock opening. The chamber lights dimmed. The gravity pulse paused, just for a second. And the oxygen rose. Not much. Just enough that Daniel felt his brain clear. It was like the room wanted him awake for this. On the far wall, new text appeared. Identity confirmation. Subject Reyes. Classification? Baseline? False. Daniel's heart slammed. What? And a panel on the wall slid open like a hidden door. Inside was not machinery. Not wiring. Not fence. Was a screen, old, scratched, and manual. A human screen. The kind used before neural overlays and HOLO projectors. A face appeared on it. An older man. Gray hair. Deep lines across his cheeks. Eyes that looked tired, but sharp. Daniel's breath caught. He knew that face. Not from memory. From blood. From photographs. From the one picture he kept tucked in his wallet when he was a kid. His father. But his father had died. That's what they told him. The man on the screen spoke. Not through text. Real audio. Danny, the man said softly. If you're hearing this, then the chamber worked. Daniel staggered, hand gripping the rail. No, you're dead? The man finished. That's what they needed you to believe. Daniel's mind snapped and cracked at the same time. The sphere hovered between Daniel and the screen like a judge. On the wall, a new line appeared. Origin file. Project Lungfire. Colonel Virick's eyes flicked to the assistant. Show me that file. The assistant's hands trembled over the console. Sir, it's sealed. Only people who don't exist. Virick muttered. Inside the chamber, Daniel stared. At the screen, his father's voice continued, calm and steady, like he'd recorded this while sitting at a kitchen table. Danny, your body isn't baseline. You were never baseline. Daniel shook his head. I'm not enhanced. I don't have implants. His father smiled faintly, sadness in his eyes. Because we didn't enhance you with metal. He paused. We enhanced you with biology. Daniel's skin went cold. His father leaned closer to the camera. You were engineered before you were born. Not in a lab like the alien mods. In a clinic that looked like a normal hospital. They told your mother it was prenatal therapy. They lied. Daniel's chest tightened as if the gravity returned. Images from Part 3 slammed back into his mind. The hospital hallway. His mother crying. The needle. The interlocked triangles. His father spoke again, voice harder now. They were building soldiers that could survive alien environments without suits. No tanks, no helmets, no oxygen lines. Humans that could run in thin air and heavy gravity, and still think. He whispered. The oxygen shut off. The gravity. His body adapting. Not normal. Not. Training got designed. The wall text changed again. Subject trait. Hypoxia tolerance extreme. Subject trait. Gravity adaptation. extreme. Daniel stumbled back. So, I'm not human? His father's face tightened. You are human, he said firmly. But you're the version they wanted. The version they could control. Colonel. Virek's jaw clenched behind the glass. So that's it, he whispered. He's one of the lost prototypes. A technician stared at him. Sir, you knew? I suspected, Virek replied. But I didn't know the chamber would wake. Him. Inside, Daniel clenched his fists until his knuckles hurt. Why didn't you tell me? He demanded at the screen. His father's eyes lowered. Because the moment you knew, they'd come for you. He looked back up, and his voice dropped. And? They did. They came for me first. Daniel's breath caught. The recording continued, but now the tone changed. Urgent, double quotes Danny. Listen carefully. This chamber isn't a test. It's a trigger. The oxygen shut off and the gravity pulses aren't to break you. They're to unlock what they buried inside you. Daniel's heart hammered. Unlock what? The wall answered before the recording. The letters appeared huge, like a verdict. Subject function. Key. Daniel stared. Key? The sphere moved, and the ceiling ports opened wider. A deeper hum rose. The chamber wasn't just watching him now. It was connecting to him. A new message appeared. Neural handshake. Initiated. Daniel felt a sharp pressure behind his eyes, like someone pressing a thumb into his skull. He dropped to one knee. Teeth clenched. The room blurred. And then he felt it. A presence. Not a voice. Not an image. A system. Massive. Dormant. Waking. The screen. With his father flickered. His father spoke faster now, like he knew time was short. They built a ship, Danny. A deep-range vessel that can't be piloted by normal minds. The aliens designed it with living interfaces. It needs a human nervous system that can survive the link. That's why you exist. Daniel's eyes widened. You're saying I'm made to fly something? His father nodded slowly. You're made to activate it. The control room erupted. Sir, look, the assistant pointed at the adaptive feed. A new status appeared. Chamber status. Transitioning to draft mode. Subject required. Colonel Virek's face hardened. Draft mode? He repeated. At technicians. Voice cracked. Sir, that's not training terminology. That's deployment. Inside the chamber, the walls began to shift. Panels slid. Seams opened. The track folded like it was never meant to exist permanently. Daniel pushed up, panic rising for the first time. What's happening? He shouted. The sphere responded with text. You are not being tested. You are being activated. Daniel backed away, but the floor moved under him, guiding him toward the wall panel. The screen, his father's face still there, eyes full of regret. Danny, his father said quietly, they told me I was helping humanity. I believed them, until I found out the truth. Daniel's voice shook. What truth? His father stared straight at the camera, like he could see through time. The ship isn't ours. Daniel froze. His father continued. It's alien. And it's been asleep under coalition territory for decades. They couldn't wake it. They couldn't talk to it. They needed a bridge between human and alien systems. He swallowed. They made you the bridge. The chamber hummed louder. The sphere pulsed once, as if confirming the statement. Daniel's mind raced. If the ship wasn't ours, then what happens when it wakes? The wall text appeared in one final line, cold and simple. Success criteria. Subject links with core. Daniel stared at the shifting walls as the chamber reshaped itself into something that looked less like a gym and more like a launch bay. He realized the twist wasn't that he was special. The twist was that he was never meant to be free. He was never the soldier. He was the interface. And now the chamber had decided he was ready. The chamber finished transforming. The running track was gone. The walls had unfolded into curved metallic ribs, arching inward like the inside of something alive, at the center of the room. The floor split open. From below, a column slowly rose, black, smooth, alien, it pulsed faintly. Like a heartbeat, Daniel stood frozen. Gravity normalized. Oxygen stabilized. The test was over. The activation had begun. The sphere hovered beside his shoulder. On the wall, the final instruction appeared. Place hand on core. In the control room, alarms started blinking. Sir, the underground signatures just spiked. A technician shouted. Colonel Vierick stared at the seismic readings. It's waking, he whispered. Beneath the facility far below the chamber, something massive shifted. Stone, cracked. Ancient metal groaned. A shape long buried under rock and secrecy responded to a signal. It had been waiting decades to receive. And that signal was Daniel. Inside the chamber, he stepped closer to the column. His father's recording flickered weakly on the wall. Danny, if you're hearing this, you still have a choice. Daniel's jaw tightened. A choice? He muttered. They built me for this. Yes, his father said softly. But they can't make you decide. The sphere pulsed. Delay detected. Daniel's heartbeat thundered in his ears. If he touched the core, he would link with an alien vessel. He would become the bridge. He would stop being just a man. But if he refused, the coalition wouldn't let him walk away. They would sedate him, force the connection, or worse. The chamber dimmed slightly. The column pulsed brighter. Daniel lifted his hand. It trembled, not from fear, but from realization. All his life, he thought, he was surviving tests. He thought endurance was his gift. But endurance wasn't the point. Control was. They wanted someone who could survive the link, not someone who would question it. He looked at the sphere. Who built the ship? He asked. The wall text responded instantly. Origin. Unknown. Destination? He demanded. Unknown. Purpose? The text paused. Then one word appeared. Return. Daniel's blood ran cold. Return. Exploration. Not defense. Return. The ship wasn't meant to take humans somewhere. It was meant to go back somewhere. And if he activated it, he might not be the pilot. He might be the fuel. In the control room, Colonel Vierick leaned forward, subject hesitation increasing. A technician looked at him. Sir, what if he refuses? Vierick's voice was quiet. He won't. Inside the chamber, Daniel closed his eyes. He remembered running as a boy, not because someone forced him, because it made him feel free. He remembered the hospital, hallway, his mother crying, his father lying to protect him. He remembered the thin air in the chamber. The crushing gravity. The chamber hunting for his breaking point. He realized something simple. They tested his body. They tested his mind. But they never tested his will. He opened his eyes, and instead of placing his hand gently on the core, he slammed his palm against it. Hard. The chamber exploded with light. Not outward. Inward. Daniel screamed as something rushed through him. Cold. Ancient. Vast. Images flooded his mind. Stars he had never seen. Worlds burning. A species not mechanical, not organic, something in between. And then he understood. The ship wasn't a weapon. It wasn't transportation. It was a distress beacon. A living beacon. It had crashed centuries ago. It had been trying to call home ever since, and it needed a compatible nervous system to finish the signal. Daniel staggered, still connected. The core pulsed violently. The underground vessel awakened fully. In the control room, systems went wild. Energy spike off the charts. Sir, the ship is powering up. Colonel Vierick's eyes widened. Link status? The assistant's voice trembled. He's not just interfacing. He swallowed. He's overriding. Inside the chamber, Daniel felt the alien presence inside. His mind it wasn't hostile. It was lonely. Ancient. And alone. It wasn't trying to conquer Earth. It was trying to go home. And the coalition? They had planned to weaponize it, force it to move under their command. Daniel clenched his jaw. You don't need them, he whispered inside his own mind. The alien consciousness responded, not in words, but in feeling. Agreement. The sphere flickered wildly. Control loss detected. Daniel pushed deeper into the link. He felt the ship's systems. He felt the underground cavern. He felt the coalition's override codes. And he shut them down. Every single one. In the control room. Screens went black. Colonel Virik slammed his fist on the console. Regain access. We can't. A technician shouted. He's inside the core architecture. Deep underground, the alien vessel began to rise. Rock shattered. Metal screamed. Above the facility. The ground trembled. Inside the chamber, Daniel's body glowed faintly. His eyes burned white for a split second. He made a decision. He would not let them chain the ship. He would not let them chain him. He redirected the signal. Not outward into space. Not upward. A pulse of energy shot into the sky like silent lightning. Invisible to the naked eye, but somewhere beyond the atmosphere. Something heard it. The ship powered down. Immediately after. Silent. Still. The core dimmed. Daniel collapsed to his knees. The sphere fell lifeless to the floor. In the control room. Every monitor was dead. Colonel Virik stared through the glass. The chamber doors unlocked with a heavy click. Security teams rushed in. Daniel looked up slowly. He was breathing normally now. No gravity. No thin air. No alien hum. Just silence. A soldier aimed a weapon at him. Step away from the core. Daniel stood. Slow. Calm. You don't control it anymore, he said quietly. Virik stepped into the chamber. His voice was cold. What did you do? Daniel looked him in the eyes. I let it call home. The ground trembled once more far below. Not rising. Not launching. Waiting. Not somewhere in deep space. An ancient signal now traveled toward an unknown civilization. Daniel understood one final truth. The oxygen test was never about survival. The gravity wasn't about strength. The chamber wasn't about obedience. It was about finding someone who could endure long enough to choose differently. And he did fade out.